Damn it, I left my pipe cleaner behind my phone in my little cubby holder, and it's hard to reach without shaking my phone. I don't care. What do you think I'm putting on here? Some kind of Steven Spielberg performance? No. I'm smoking some outdoors hiking from Cobblestone. Well, it's hiking from the Outdoor Series by Cobblestone that Beans 316 sent to me. It has been a really weird... The flake came real dry. Like, you touch it, it turns to dust dry. So I was like, cool, I'll just rehydrate it. Well, I went out of town for work and I wasn't driving the first part of the trip. So I broke down the flake and I put it in the bowl, and I would just breathe through my stem over and over. Then I dumped it all back out into my little leather tray. I'd mix it up, put it back in. I did that like 4 or 5 times until you could really... It's kind of a cheat. Like, you can't expect that if you're doing that, it's going to penetrate the flake all the way. But a lot of it was pretty broken up. Anyways, when I smoked it after rehydrating it that way, I guess the real way to rehydrate it would be to put it in an enclosement like a coolador with a very, very high relative humidity, or a 2-way Boveda pack for a long time in a small enclosure until it just everything reaches the correct moisture level. But that can take a long time. And who goes to that extent with samples? So when I did that, my first smoke, it was very florally. And then my second smoke, I was like, I'm not going to add anything to it. I'm going to smoke it dry. I don't know what to say. It was like half as florally. And then I reached out to Father Brian and other people I know that have smoked it. And I'm like, do you get any of this? And Father Brian's like, I'll do a retrohale and get back to you. I can't say I remember that, but... And I smoked another bowl at the house. And it was just changing. It's almost like, because I made it moist, I experienced an odd smoke. And because it's going to be similar in taste, regardless of if I hydrate it or not, I could still pick up on what I thought was floral the consecutive smokes afterwards, and I thought it was still floral. Anyways, my third smoke, I'm actually trying to identify the floral notes just when I retrohale, and I'm like, I'm not sure that's actually floral that I'm getting. And then today, my fourth bowl, I smoke it, just not even thinking about it. I'm having a conversation with Millennial Codger, as a matter of fact, and I'm just smoking this, enjoying it, and I don't notice anything florally. So I don't know, sue me. Very few blends. I do dry out blends now. The only blend that made me really cognizant about drying blends out was the Navy Deluxe rolls, because when that thing was wet, and I don't know if I had a wet batch, but that was rancid, like completely rancid. It just, moisture doesn't do well in tobacco when it's that wet. Okay, most blends that had different varying levels of moisture, degrees of moisture, I used to never dry out. I never had a problem. So I'm just wondering if the way I added moisture to rehydrate this is what made it funky, because it sure as hell did make my AC started working for no reason. I've been driving around trying to get this crap to work. Yeah, get the clouds. I still like those clouds. Take the focus off my face, put it on the clouds. No one wants to see that. Oh, my AC's... I'm going to have to get this AC fixed. I don't care. Tax time's coming up. I'm probably going to owe them $4,000 or $5,000, but I'm at the point where I don't want to go another damn year without my AC working. Screw that. I don't give a shit anymore. I'll go donate blood. So, it's not floral. But when I first hydrated it, it was florally. This is not floral to me now. Weird. Anyways, I'm not doing a review on this. It's not even the point of this video. So, my point is, you say what you want to say. I think the moisture level of the tobacco can radically change the taste. This is the second time I've had an experience that validates that point. For at least my palate, okay? Yeah, actually, I'm really liking this. So if you're watching this, Father Brian, cancel that. It's not florally. I'm sorry. So I got on to like tobacco reviews. I'm like, I bet there's a Kentucky in this and it's doing weird things in my retro hail. It was just like, Burley. They don't have to tell you what they throw in here, right? It's part of their little recipe. Unless you can see it, they can do all kinds of stuff. Okay? They can do all kinds of little finagling to keep their recipe under their hat, okay? They don't owe you, the consumer, anything. It's a secret.
See, what you gotta understand is the goblins that live under the Rainbow Bridge sell LSD and psychoactive
Mr. Beans, or as I call him, the Beans Man, sent me a pipe. He was nice enough to include a sample of the cobblestone outdoors hiking, which I know he loves. Thank you, Beans. He also sent me a sample of Kindle Dark from Hogarth. Guy with Hogarth. Kindle Dark. I don't know. I've never had any of their stuff. I've seen plenty of reviews on it. Sent me some Solani 660. I'm not sure what that is, but I know the popular Solani stuff is hard to get. That may be one of them. I don't know. And then I got Flat Cap's Finest. Thank you, Beans. Here's the cool thing. Because I broke my mortar. Let me a little backstory here, okay? Beans wanted to do me a favor, and he just wanted to send this to me. And he went out of his way. To the point where he was asking me what kind of color stems I like, what kind of color pipes I like, all that stuff. And I just want to reveal this. I hope it. This is by far this is my favorite pipe that I've ever received from him. I don't know if you can see that. This reflection is horrible. So I ended up with the brown stem. He sent me a briar. Really beautiful wood grain in here. Yeah, this lighting sucks. I apologize. And she's a beauty. Now here's the most unique aspect to this pipe. God, this lighting's horrible. I can't tell if this is even seeable. He's got the Brian Doran stamp, and then underneath that he put Rinky Dink. I don't even know if you can see it. I have a tiny phone, so it's even hard for me to see my screen. Anyways, Brian Doran, Rinky Dink. Beautiful pipe. Here's the thing. I think I dropped his. I did. I dropped his card. I'll get it later. So I was kind of laughing with Brian. I'm like, you know, it's funny because I broke your mortar pipe. The fact that you're going out of your way to make something especially for me. And then he puts Rinky Dink on it. And it's an authentic Brian Doran pipe. I'm like, it's more special. And I was kind of messing with him. I'm like, God, I'm so damn brilliant. I broke the pipe on purpose. Now I have something more sentimental. And I was like, I'm kidding. I didn't break it on purpose. But, here's the thing. This is almost really sentimental to me now. And because I'm not in my own place, I know I've been saying that for years, guys, but the reason why I say that is because I would always smoke in my car, but I'm hard on my pipes. I'm very hard on my pipes. I would always have a selection of pipes that I would never take with me to work. This is one of those pipes I'm not taking with me to work. As a matter of fact, it's so beautiful and so damn sentimental because Brian Doran went out of his way to put my name in the back of this beautiful pipe because he loves me so much that I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I feel like I'm going to smoke this with a match as to be extra careful to not burn, you know, the face of the pipe. I forget anatomy of this, okay? Whatever. The bowl face. And I may even do one of those things where I choose a certain blend that's reminiscent. Like Beans turned me on to London Flake, LJ Peretti London Flake. I don't know if I'm going to make it that, but I'm going to one day pick a blend that somehow ties in with a blend that Beans turned me on to, and I'm going to probably make this a pipe that I exclusively smoke that out of. I'm not sure. I just know that I don't want to ruin this pipe, and every pipe, I'm careful with my Brody Joe pipe. Like that is my Brody Joe pipe, and then a couple of the other Beans pipes that haven't seen as much use are like my Savinelli 673 KSs, my 311 KS, everything else I have, it looks beat to shit. It's burnt, it's scuffy, it's beat up. And I just don't want to do that with this, and that's my point. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Something creative. I'm going to choose a blend that I really like. It may be a Burley. It may be a straight Virginia. It may be a Vapor. I'm almost thinking Davidoff Flake Medallions. It'd be fitting to make it, I know Beans likes Burleys. He likes everything. It'd be fitting to make it a Vapor, because for years, that was Brian's jam, is Vapors, and it still is. But, I don't know. I may just pick my favorite Vapor and put it in here. We'll see. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. You know what I mean? Anyways. That's what I wanted to come in and gush about. Yeah, I mean, it's just a gorgeous pipe. I love the browns. That's just my color. It looks different on camera, as they always do. Love the browns. Beautiful grain. Even Beans was kind of gushing about the grain. He was like, well, this turned out really well, just so you know. I can't believe it says Doran USA 2025, and underneath that it says Rinky Dink. And I'm a pretty important kind of person. Here it is. He said, hope you like this one, brother. Enjoy many smokes, Brian. So, appreciate you, Brian. Very cool. Very sentimental. I like it. I love it. So he asked me, what kind of stems do you like? I was like, I don't care. Red, blue, green. And I sent that. I was like, surprise me. It's more, I told him it's more sentimental if you choose. He's like, he's like, do you like brown? What kind of pipes do you like? I'm like, I like brown and black. And I tell you, I'm getting really into non-rusticated. I love rusticated pipes, but I've been looking at some pipes lately that are not rusticated, and I'm going to, at some point start getting some of those. But, And I also sent him, oh yeah, by the way, I also love a good brown and a coffee color stem. And I'm glad he chose that, because after I sent that, I was like, man, I kind of had just wished that I had really just said brown and coffee. And that's the one he chose. So. Yes. We'll see. This is kind of just going to be a collector's pipe until I can figure out what I mean, I don't believe in not smoking a pipe. But I've always wanted to get to a place. I don't care how stupid you think it is. I've always wanted to get to a place that once I'm indoors, I want a damn bookshelf where I have all my Burleys on one shelf, all my straight Virginias, just all the blends divided. My vapors, my English blends, all of them divided with the bulk, with the surplus. You know, being that I'm probably never going to have a massive cellar, I think I could pull that off in my living room. The problem is, you know, like in my old apartments, I could close the curtains. Like I wouldn't need to worry about like light penetration, UV, hurting the tobacco. But ideally, to get like an armoire that has shelves with doors that close would be very nice. Now those are expensive. And I'm kind of snobby. I'm like, oh no, I need a real chestnut wood with, I don't know, I just like that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be anything like that, but I do have to consider if I ever want sunlight streaming in to that room, I have to be careful because sunlight, UV light will ruin and break down anything. Don't ask me how I know that. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that if you produce psilocybin by way of growing your own psychocubenses, that after you dehydrate them, if you throw it into a mason jar with a little bit of dry ice, it sucks all the oxygen out of the air, which will then allow it to last longer. Like, I don't know where I got that from. Couldn't tell you. I wouldn't know anything about. Jeez, I almost forgot how this works. Akaryotic and dikaryotic. The way psilocybin work is whatever's going on inside the cow's stomach, the digestive tract, when it's mixed with manure, when it's on the ground in the right climate and environment with the correct humidity, with the correct temperature, the mycelium itself doesn't actually start developing in layers under the ground. You've got what's called monokaryotic and dikaryotic spores, right? Just the absolute building blocks of the mycology that develops the fungi that then the mycelium grows in. You've got monokaryotic, which spreads, dikaryotic, that spreads, and when those two things come together, it creates the mycelium that then grows in layers as like a network underneath the ground. I'm not saying that I used to do any research into this, and that is the substrate from which the fruit bodies of the magic mushroom begin to grow from. That's all I'm saying. And if you get petri dishes and you use a gelatin and you're very sterile, you can actually inject spores into the petri dish, and as that mycelium develops, you can isolate a rhizomorphic structure which looks like a bunch of tiny ropes that intersect in the mycelium. That shit'll get you really stoned. And you isolate that, and you can cross-colonize millions of mason jars after you've prepared your own substrate. And just one fully colonized substrate jar, if appropriately handled, will give you a lifetime supply of psilocybe cubensis. Now, I don't do that. There was just a time I watched a couple of documentaries. And I honestly do not do that. So don't come knocking on my damn door. The way it used to work, I'm not interested in that kind of stuff anymore. The loophole was that what is it, the FDA? Whatever. They have to isolate the actual carrier. They have to isolate the drug, right? THC is a drug. So psilocin and psilocybin are the psychoactives that they consider to be illegal. However, the spores that are the initial fertilizing agents of how these things repopulate, they never classified that as because it doesn't carry any psychoactive substance. So you used to be able to get onto Arrowhead.com, read up on this stuff, and then you could, from the UK, you could have the spores suspended in a gel and some syringes mailed to you. And as long as you put those in the fridge and you knew what you were doing, it was very easy to make a right batch of your own psilocybe cubensis. I don't recommend it. And that was like 2013, 2012. They could have changed the law since then. Old news. Anyways, I remember that, but I don't remember what I did yesterday. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. So stupid. Well, you all have a wonderful weekend. I actually just want to go home, brew a cup of coffee, take a shower, make music, read some scripture. I had a really good talk with Millennial Codger today. He may have reached out to me, but I silenced my phone and turned it off for this video, which is weird. I've never done that before. I don't know why I did that. So he may have already responded to me, and I just don't know. Anyways, you all have a lovely weekend. I used to be interested in that mycology stuff. I really did. I still am, to some degree. I think psychedelic substances could be used hand in hand responsibly in psychiatry. They've done studies on this where they took like veterans under microdosing certain amounts above and beyond microdosing MDMA under professional care. The psychiatrists came out of those sessions fucking floored, and they're like, we need to get this into the public light right now. In one session, I've had more progress than I had from 3 years of counseling with these individuals. It opens, the ego is a mother, like when your defense mechanisms kick in and all those really brilliant psychological defense mechanisms that can kick in to keep you from having to deal with something that troubles you. Sometimes a little push in the right direction can help when it comes to breakthrough in psychiatry. Whatever. The point is, I personally, though, because of my worldview, I don't want anyone talking to me about anything unless they share the same worldview. It's like, if you don't believe that Christ is the Son of God and God in the flesh that came and died on the cross for our sins. I don't want you trying to usher me. I'm not saying you don't have anything to offer. You may be able to point out and identify with certain behavior patterns of mine, and that's fine. But I don't want you leading me through the wilderness if your worldview is explicitly one of just a secular worldview. A lot of pitfalls in that. It's kind of sad we put God in a box. I don't know, man. I see God in a lot of things that he's not given credit for. I mean, just nature itself is a reflection of his nature. And if one were to think about it, you know, even nature itself has been affected by the curse. So imagine a true mirror image, a reflection of God's nature. I mean, the world is a beautiful place in the sense of the seasons, the wildlife. It's like, oh no, you can only experience those things and like those things over here if you're a fucking hippie. That's got nothing to do with God. What are you talking about? He's the creator of the heavens and the earth. It has everything to do with God. Anyways, I'm gonna rush home. Thank you, Beans. Awesome pipe. Awesome pipe. Turn that AC up, man. I guess that's it. I don't know what else to say. I'll probably be doing a review on Cobblestone Outdoor Series hiking next. The love of God, would one of y'all go buy some Davidoff Lake medallions? Whoever, if you like straight Virginias, I'm just going to send a can to somebody. If you like straight Virginias and Vapors, will someone, for the love of God, just like let that age for 5 years and smoke some of that? I swear to God, it's great. I mean, it's kind of on the light side, but that doesn't mean it's not delicious. It is fabulous. It's like, to me, when a Scudo's hitting right, it's so good. It doesn't always hit. Scudo doesn't always land well with me. It's got to be aged. But even then, it doesn't always land awesome. Sometimes it lands amazing. With the fruit explosion, like Amicus told me. And then Orlick Golden Slice, it's the same way, man. Sometimes that stuff lands so fabulously. It's like, man, this shit's good. Well, the Davidoff Lake medallions do that exact same thing. And I never hear anyone gushing about it. I think Beans did a review on it. When I smoked it, and I was like, I like this. And then I looked for one that Brian did, and he liked it. I think he said it was light. That's Brian's thing. He doesn't like real light blends. I think everyone knows that about him. I need to just send a 10 to somebody and be like, good God, tell me if you like this. It's like when you watch a really good movie and you want to share that experience with somebody. Or you go to a restaurant and have an amazing steak and you want someone else to experience that. You're like, come on, I'm going to go buy you a steak. It's amazing. That's kind of how I feel about the Davidoff Lake medallions. And I won't be hurt if I send it to you and you smoke it and you're like, this is disgusting. I don't care. I have to say the Cobblestone's growing on me. So, wow, that was a complete 180. I just had a bad start with it. I know next time if I get a blend that's extremely dry, smoke it the first time just as is. If you want to hydrate it after that, hydrate it. Because that first weird smoke, because I hydrated it, I was just constantly scanning for those weird notes afterwards, and it was hard to let go of my first experience. And I finally had enough of it to where I realized it was just, I shouldn't have added moisture to it. 30 minutes long. How ridiculous. Y'all be well.